Hi everybody, I'm Rebecca Keppel. I am super excited to be here today and I'm going to share with you a brand new Queen & Company kit. It is called the Art Days Shaped Shaker Kit. You can make a lot of fun shakers with it. I'm going to show you how to make 3 cards with this kit, all shakers. These are the dies that are included in the kit and these are the foam shapes. So you get 3 foams per die shape. So that means you get 3 artist palette that goes with that die there, 3 easels that goes with that die there, and 3 paintbrush foams that goes with all those dies there. And I'm going to show you how to put that all together in just a minute when we get into the cards. The great thing about this kit is that there is paper on the back and the front that makes it a lot easier to peel off than the plastic. And of course you get the acetate shapes. So you get an acetate to go with every single foam and they are die cut. So you get 3 palette acetates and all the other ones as well. Here is the stamp set that comes with this kit. It is a really sweet stamp set with lots of fun, crafty friendship messages. So we're going to start with the artist palette here, and I am using some strips that have some stitching detail on the edge of them. I got these from the Foundations 3 die set. I will link all of this down below so that you can take a look at them and grab them if you like. I love these Foundations dies for backgrounds, for mounting things on your cards, kind of making a focal image. There's lots of great ways you can use these Foundations dies. Thinking about a video of how I use a bunch of them on cards. So I will get started on that and I'll definitely post it as soon as it's ready. Okay, now I have my strips. I am going to use this scallop square from the Foundations 5 die set, and this is how I do the artist palette. So I'm going to pop out the artist palette shape from the foam and I'm going to pop out that center and set it aside. I don't need that part. So I think this fits nicely on the scallop. I want each of my palette colors to be a different color. I cut them out in 5 different colors, but I want this all to line up. So I cut it out of white cardstock and I'm going to adhere it down to that white cardstock scallop square. Then I'm going to take each individual circle there and I'm going to adhere them into the circle on the palette. Basically, I'm using that white cardstock as a guide of where my different colors need to be because it's hard to just tell just by kind of eyeballing it how close they need to be together. So I use this as a guide and then everything will line up perfectly. Once that guide is done, I can take off the back protective layer of my foam shape and lay it right on the outside. Now I'm going to add in some sequins or some little shaker goodies. I'm going to grab the acetate piece, peel off the top protective layer, and add the acetate piece right on top. You can see I kind of screwed it up, so I quickly removed it and then reoriented it. Now I can take the black cardstock that I cut out of the palette and lay that on top. And I'm just going to line everything up so that you can see each of the little colors in the little color palettes, and then you see the shakers going over top of them. So that's the way that I found to line everything up perfectly, and it's really easy. I'm going to grab one of the sentiments from the sentiment stamps and I'm going to stamp it on a flag that I cut from one of the foundation sets as well. I am using some anti-static powder tool and then Versamark ink to heat emboss in white on the black cardstock. I think the black and white with a bunch of rainbow colors looks really fun with this kit. Everything kind of pops that way. So I'm just taking off a little bit of that extra anti-static there, and then I'm going to use some Gina K foam squares to pop up that flag. I realize now I probably should have grabbed the black ones that I had, but it's fine. So if you do have black foam squares, this is a perfect opportunity to use them. Okay, now I'm just going to adhere that scallop and I'm just going to use dot roller adhesive to adhere that down because it's already got lots of dimension on that shaker there. Super, super cute. Now I'm going to adhere this to a top folding 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece of cardstock, and that is it for that shaker. Super easy when you use that little guide that I used with the white cardstock to set all my palettes up the right way. Okay, the next card that we're going to do is the artist's brush. And I did die cut 3 pieces of pattern paper from a rectangle that has a stitched edge. So I die cut them all from the stitched edge rectangle, and then I use that foundations die with the squiggle to cut them vertically so that I would have 3 layers of colors on my card there. And I love the way that that squiggle kind of reminds me of, painting like a squiggly line or something like that. It's very creative looking. I think it's super, super cute. It could also be waves in an ocean card or clouds, but for this one, I'm using it to be an artist squiggle. Okay, once I have my background complete, I am going to pop out that artist brush foam shape and then pop out the center. Again, set that aside. And now I'm just going to look at placement, where I'm going to put my sentiment, things like that. So I do need to see that I have enough room for the brush itself. And then this other little piece is going to be the brush dipped in paint. So I picked out 3 Copic marker colors that I thought matched my pattern paper, and I'm going to color that as well. Okay, again, I'm just trying to make sure I know where everything's going to go so that I can stamp my sentiment. But first, I am going to take that little white piece of cardstock that I cut out of the paint for the brush, and I am going to make a little rainbow of colors on it. So I am doing the side of that cardstock with some of the Copic markers there, just so that it doesn't show up real white. I don't want to see the white cardstock. I want to make it look like it's dipped in a rainbow of paint. So like I said, I grabbed just a couple of colors that I tried to match sort of close to those pattern papers that I was using, and then I'm just using that brush tip to color it in and then also color the edges. Okay, now I'm going to put my panel into my mini Misty. Again, I am going to use some anti-static powder tool and Versamark ink to heat emboss the sentiment on the top of that card panel there. I did stamp it twice. That's why I like to use the Misty, because it was a long sentiment. I wanted to make sure it was all covered with embossing ink. And now I am going to pour some of that white embossing powder on top and then heat set that so that we have a nice bright white message. And now it's time to lay everything down and line everything up. So I'm going to peel off the back protective layer of the foam shape and lay it down at an angle. Then I am going to put this black piece that was the interior of the die, and I'm going to put that right inside. That's going to make the brush look like an actual brush and not be able to see the pattern paper behind it. I'm going to adhere the brush itself and then that little paint dip that we colored with the 3 different markers. Now I can take some of my shaker goodies and pour them inside. I am going to do the same 3 colors that I chose for the pattern papers and for the brush tip, so that we'll kind of have sort of a Roy G. Biv, but mostly just pink, orange, and blue. I'm going to peel off that top protective layer and then lay down my acetate. Make sure to line it up so that you trap all those shaker goodies inside. Then use some adhesive on the die cut that I did, die cut out of the black cardstock, to line up on my brush. And you can see there's a little white open space. That's what that last little die was for. I cut mine out of gold metallic cardstock so that it looked like that metal piece that kind of cinches the brush together. Once that's done, I can adhere it to a top folding note card. It is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, just a regular A2 size note card. And that completes our second card. But I actually thought that I wanted to add something that looked like paint. So I grabbed some epoxy dots in 3 different colors, pink, blue, and orange, and I'm just scattering them from the tip of the paintbrush up to the top of the card there, so it looks like we just painted a row of rainbow dots. And I love that these epoxy dots come with 2 tones of colors in them, so you get a lot of choices if you buy the whole rainbow. And that is actually the end of that second card. Okay, for the last card for the easel, it's very, very easy because it's a rectangle. There's no thought of, how it needs to go. So I'm going to pop out that rectangle, pop out that center piece. And now really I just want to make sure that everything lines up. So I'm going to put a white piece of cardstock on my rainbow pattern paper. I want to make sure I have room for the easel, for the canvas, and then for my sentiment. So that's why I kind of put things on there and then keep taking them off, because I just really want to make sure that everything's going to line up and that everything's going to have room and look cute. So again, that's what I'm doing here, just making sure I'm not taking up too much room for my sentiment there, and I'm still going to have room for both the easel and the canvas. This time I am using VersaFine Black Onyx ink to stamp my sentiment on the white cardstock there. You can see that I close my Misty door really slow. That pigment ink kind of splashes a little if you close the door too fast. So I do recommend just going a little bit more slowly with that pigment ink because it is very juicy. Okay, I am going to put the base of the easel down first, and I'll tell you why. That's easy to kind of just line up and make it nice and centered. And now I'm going to peel off the back protective layer of the canvas. And then I'm going to line that up so it sits on the easel just like a regular canvas would. I think that's the easiest way to do it. So now I'm actually going to grab some bitty buttons. These can be used on the outside to embellish a card. They are also small enough to use on the inside of the shaker. And I thought they looked really, really cute. So I'm going to actually take a rainbow of these. So I have pink, yellow, orange, blue, and I'm going to fill that. Then I'm going to take off the top protective layer of that canvas and lay down my acetate piece right there on top. Once that's done, my shaker goodies are trapped. Now I just need to customize the edge of that canvas, and I liked the black cardstock to do that on the white. Again, that black and white with lots of rainbows I think just really pops on the card. And that's it for that one. All we have to do now is adhere it down to a top folding note card that is also 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm just using some dot roller adhesive to do that as well. And that was it. That's all 3 shapes that are included in the Art Days Shaped Shaker Kit from Queen & Co. So we have the artist palette there, the artist brush there, and the easel and canvas there. So I will have links to everything I used down in the description below. If you're interested, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel here, check out my blog for more information, and I'll have a couple of other videos that you might be interested as well. I want to thank you so much for stopping by today. Have a wonderful day.